I think Nick's a great coach. I really do. I think he's a great head coach. Obviously, nobody was good enough this year. I wasn't. None of the players, none of the coaches were good enough down the stretch. That's the reality of this business. When you're that bad, it's a collective thing. And but I'll always have faith in Nick Sirianni. I think he does a lot of things structurally and organizationally that I think are really well done. Obviously, we got a lot of things to fix to improve the outcomes and the offense in general from my perspective for next year. But no, I think very, very highly of Nick Sirianni.
Come on, man. What is it to talk about, man? Because, man, he's a winner. He's a winning head coach. Do we have some bumps this year? Yeah, but every team, every organization, everybody goes through it. But we don't look at firing a man who, obviously has won 10-plus games 2 years in a row, that's took his organization to 3 playoff appearances 3 years in a row. That's a respect. Coach he's a good leader for this team. He does a really good job. Did we come up short? Yeah. Did things happen this year? Yeah. But you don't look at, I don't discuss about, firing a man or, this man got a family. I don't discuss about anything about that.
That's both Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. And Chris, look, both of these guys might not be on the team next year.
Right.
There's reporting that Fletcher Cox
is a good chance they're not.
Done.
Right.
Jason, I feel like Jason Kelsey is withholding his retirement
Just taking
announcement
a little time.
possibly until he also announces that he's joining the Amazon booth with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. I have no information whatsoever about that. It just feels inevitable based upon, number one, the popular Kelsey documentary that Amazon did, and then they had him in the booth on the Thursday night of the Eagles bye week.
And it felt like a tryout.
Pretty well.
Yeah, right.
And Al seemed
Hey,
to
you
be
did pretty good. You did pretty
about
good.
the
That's what he
situation.
said. Like he knew it was a tryout. He literally said that, which I was like, what? Okay, that does sound – I thought it was a tryout, and he confirmed it was a tryout when he said that. So, yeah, I'm with you there, Mike. I think that's coming in the future too.
So both those guys may be gone. The question is what's going to happen with Nick Sirianni. And apparently there was no meeting yesterday, after all, between Sirianni, Jeff Lurie, the owner of the team, and Howie Roseman, the general manager. There was reporting from the Philadelphia Inquirer on Tuesday going into Wednesday that would be the case. But when you consider everything that was going on yesterday, and Miles Simmons and I talked about this yesterday, Chris, you've got the full day of exit interviews with players. And I suspect that there were some guys that wanted to vent about some things. We still don't know what the hell caused this dysfunctional ending to the season. But I would suggest from Nick Sirianni's perspective, that was a long day, just talking to the players. Then you meet with the coaches. Then after all those hours of all that stress, you're going to go sit down and talk to the bosses about what your plan is for making it better. And as I've said all week long, Nick Sirianni, your plan had better be something more than I have confidence. It's got to be more than that. Why do you think it's going to be different next year? I have confidence that it will be. No. Hey, as the guy who owns this team and the guy who was giving that combination look of a complete bewilderment and also I want some butts, as we said the other day, like this mask of 7 different emotions from Jeffrey Lurie. He's not going to accept I have confidence that we're going to turn it around.
No.
He's going to want concrete plans for moving forward. Who are you going to hire to replace these coordinators? What are you going to do to upgrade these systems? What is it that went wrong? Looking back on it now, what would you have done differently? Where did it go sideways? What did you fail to do at the right moment to change this around? You got to be ready for that meeting. So I think the fact that it got kicked to today, assuming it happens today, I think it makes it a bigger deal.
Yeah, right.
It's now a standalone event where this guy's going to have to go in and he's going to have to prove that he's worthy of continuing to be the coach of the Eagles.
Yeah, I hear you there. It almost, in some ways feels like, hey, it was a day of like Jeffrey Lurie getting all his ducks in a row to make sure he's got all his points and things he wants to get clear so they can really hash this out, like you said, in a standalone meeting. As we both know, Jeffrey Lurie is not your typical owner. He's a little bit more part of, making the stew, making the meal than I think people realize, like understands personnel a little bit, tries to learn football. So I think there's more knowledge there maybe than your typical owner, which is cool and all that. But yeah, he's going to want answers, right? He's definitely going to want answers. And, again, we know drastic changes have to be made. There's no way you could come back to the table, in my opinion, with the same offensive coordinator. That would be stupid. That would be like where we're just setting ourselves up for a disaster if we get off to a bad start. We know defensive coordinator, that has to be changed around. Or maybe Matt Patricia's made the full-time guy and he can actually coach the defense the way he wants and then go into the season, right? But either way, something drastic has to be done there, all right? And then, you get into the player aspect. The one thing I will say, the players are behind Nick Sirianni all the way. All the way. And I do think that's encouraging. The fact that you see just such blind support, I don't think it's BS. They give the type of answers where, like you who likes to psychoanalyze, I think you could agree, they're pretty strong and they're pretty like, hey, we like him and all of that. But they are players, and he has a good way with players, and players don't always know everything. And like Fletcher Cox said, hey, a lot of people, they came up short. Well, yeah, this is beyond short. This was you guys are the most talented team in football and had a monumental collapse. That's where I don't think the Eagles players are quite justifying it in the right frame of mind. Again, when you break it down and you go through every team in football, like the Eagles are going to be like, hey, there's the most of us on the field here. Like every coach is going to go, I'll take their O-line, I'll take their D-line, I'll take this guy, I'll take that guy, like we talked about the other day. Right? And that's where it looks really bad. Everybody has a collapse every now and then. But teams that are the most talented in football and that were 10-1 and then look like the worst team in football, that happens very rare. And I'm a historian, and I don't remember it ever happening quite to this degree.
You are the Sergeant General of NFL historians. Last time I checked.
So some would say.
I'll say this.
Right.
The players liking their coach, to me, that can be misleading. It's like liking your teacher, right? Your favorite teacher wasn't the one that...
No, well, let me miss class every now and then. Let me go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. Right, exactly. Oh, where were you? I had to go to the bathroom really bad.
What are we doing today?
I was actually in the other hallway kissing my future wife, my girlfriend at the time. I wasn't going to the bathroom. I was trying to get a little PDA, but I like this teacher because he doesn't ask questions about where I was when I'm actually kissing my girlfriend around the corner. Yeah, those are your favorite coaches. You're right.
Teacher just sits there and reads the newspaper while you do whatever you want.
Exactly. I love that teacher. It's my favorite teacher ever.
Don't fire him.
Yeah.
Don't fire him. You're going to fire him?
It's so sad to see you go, teacher who made me do nothing. Darn it. I can't believe they're firing you. This is horrible.
Jalen Hurts, a guy that we know definitely will be with the Eagles in 2024. He signed a big contract after the 2022 season. He was questioned yesterday about Sirianni. He had some things to say. Here's the question, followed by Hurts' answer.
Do you want him back as head coach?
I said owners own, coaches coach, and players play. I answered that question the other day, and I don't know if you asked me something the other day about, and I said, what did I say?
It's like you didn't know. Yeah. Like you didn't know.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a thing. So I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. We plan on fixing everything that we've done and growing together. Coach Sirianni, Brian, everyone.
That's a little bit of a cleanup on aisle 5 by Jalen Hurts, because I think many people were surprised he had no idea that there was even a conversation. Even if you don't hear it externally, you got to be thinking internally. We're in a free fall.
It wasn't a very strong response, I will say, either.
1-6. No.
Dak Prescott gave a much stronger response to Mike McCarthy in the postgame podium than that right there. What coaches coach, players play, owners own. After they ask you about, your head coach and should he be fired, that's not really answering the question. It's kind of deflecting, right? That to me was a little weird, the answer, honestly.
I also feel like he brought it back up again, like it was something that someone from PR told him that maybe he should do. So he just did it to placate them, but it didn't feel full-throated. It didn't feel like he was giving off the same vibe. I want Nick Sirianni back. And this is a great opportunity for the leader of the team at least as it relates to the guys who wear the uniforms, to stand up and say, why are you people talking about this? I mean, look at what Fletcher Cox said. 3 straight years in the playoffs. Why are we having this conversation? Do you not realize how idiotic this sounds to even think about changing coaches? Did we hit a rough stretch? Yes, we did. We're committed to fixing it. We're good enough to fix it. We'll be ready to go next year. Everyone out there needs to understand that. All these fans that are clamoring now for change, hang on here. Just bear with us. We'll be fine. Like, that's part of the power that you have as the quarterback of the team. And I'm not saying that he should have. I'm just saying he could have. And if he would have, we'd be having a different conversation today.
Yeah, I hear that. He's certainly, hey, he's got authority. He's got a big time, positive standing with the Eagles fan base and all of that. Certainly, right. We'll see where this goes. But again, Jalen Hurts, some of this dirt's on his hands too. Again, you heard me say on Tuesday, I've never seen a superstar quarterback who gets away with less blame for quarterbacking a team that's loses 6 out of their 7. He doesn't play good really in any of those football games. And I don't hear anybody. I mean, the post game on Monday night, I'm watching the show. I think Ryan Clark is the man. Like, he is the man. You know that. I think doesn't even bring up like Jalen Hurts in his play down the stretch. Nothing about it. I'm kind of flabbergasted by the whole thing there. And yeah, it's just not a good look. But obviously, something's got to be done there. And I don't know how much Jalen Hurts believes in, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. But yeah, he's probably going to have to be involved in some conversations, or they're going to have to let him know, hey, we're staying the course and this has to be done, or we're making a big change here, and I hope you're comfortable with that. But I would imagine the latter is going to happen at some point here over the next few weeks.
The thing that was glaring about Hurts the other night, you got the ball on your own 14-yard line and you take intentional grounding in your own end zone. How does that happen? I can't think of another time that a quarterback has allowed that to happen. Now, was this just an accumulation of issues? He had that knee problem. It's a long season. You're playing a lot of games. It is physical. It is demanding. He fought through that knee injury. I don't know where things stand because we didn't see him run as much late in the year as he used to do. But remember, what was it? Was it the Miami game? There was some point where we saw him take off to run. It's like something's not right with him.
Right.
Something's not right.
Yeah, it was
he's not
around
the
there.
same guy.
Right.
He's not moving. He's got no explosion. He's got no burst. And then, they put a knee brace on him. And they did a disservice to him hiding that knee injury. It's amazing that they got away with that nobody ever said anything about it. There was no league scrutiny. He clearly had a knee injury that they lied about, that they hid from their injury report. And I wonder how much that affected his play throughout the course of the season. And look, here's the bottom line. Nick Sirianni is going to have to make a proposal to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman about who the coordinators are going to be. And it was in 2021, after the 2020 season, that Doug Peterson went in for that routine end-of-season meeting with Jeffrey Lurie and proposed coordinators, and Lurie didn't like it. And they reached a disagreement.
Yeah.
And Lurie said, pack your stuff and leave.
Right.
So that's why this meeting is so critical. Cliches are not going to save Nick Sirianni's job. He's got to come in there. Can we show the video of what Jeff Lurie looked like in the fourth quarter? He's got to come in there and change that face that Jeff Lurie had Monday night. He's got to say something that turns the Jeff Lurie mask of what the hell am I going to do next into, okay, now I know what we're going to do next, and I like this. Wow, now I know why I hired this guy. Now I know why I'm going to keep this guy. He's made me feel better about this disastrous end of a season that caused me to look the way I looked in the fourth quarter of the game in Tampa Bay. I like this plan. I'm excited about this plan. This just isn't a case of me tolerating it. I love it. This is great. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Now I understand why we went 1-6 down the stretch. Now I understand how we're going to be better next year. Thank you, Nick. You have made my week. You have erased my shame and my agony from Monday night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go do what it is that you've proposed that we do. That's what Sirianni has got to push those buttons on Lurie, or he's going to get pushed out the door.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I go to what Fletcher Cox said and said, yeah, we came up short. A lot of people came up short. But not everybody had the Eagles football team. Again, it's an all-star team. You ask anybody around football, they go, oh my God, the Eagles, the roster, holy cow, oh my gosh. That's all you'd ever hear when somebody has to play the Eagles. Holy cow, they're good at all these positions, blah, 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 right? And it's like, it's not only not maximizing that, it's a bigger picture too about, again, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown changing a play in a big moment. That's odd, Like my dad heard that when I was having a conversation about my dad. He was like, oh, my gosh, if I ever did that, I mean, I really think Bill Parcells would pull me off the field that second. He goes, Joe Montana and Tom Brady, they'd be benched too. They couldn't do that to Bill Walsh or Bill Belichick. Like, that's a little crazy. That is. That says a little something there about the quarterback and the control the coach has. Then the body language on the field is fair to be dissected as well. It's one thing for the owner to be in the box looking like that, but it's another thing when the other 53 guys on the football team look like that the whole game too. I mean, it's pretty apparent. Again, superstar leader quarterback, everybody just the whole game. Nobody does anything. It's always slumped shoulders, shaking a head. Nothing there at all. And that's what I think is also concerning, is that there was no player or person that was trying to revitalize. You got there, Dallas Goedert, he's mad. He's going, hey, I was open on that play. You threw the ball, the jump ball to Devontae Smith that we didn't get the touchdown or first down on. There was discontent everywhere. And that's what is going to be concerning to Lurie, I think, as he thinks about this and unpacks it more in his brain.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.